Hello, everyone. Welcome. This is the Goldmiind Call. This is the 21st of March, 2016. The year is blasting by, and RX is just growing like crazy. So welcome, everybody. I want to make a brief announcement here at the very beginning of our call. Those of you who are watching later in a replay line, I want to move this call later on in the day. And so right now at this point it's 2 p.m. Mountain time is when the call usually happens. I want to move it actually 3 hours later so that it gets to be later on in the afternoon California time and a little bit later on when we go to the East Coast. So any questions or I guess comments before I make the final decision? Connie, what time is it there for you? And
it's 3 o'clock here, so it'd be 6 o'clock. That'd be great. And more people could join it on my team, actually, because those working would be great.
I'm thinking that it probably would be better, although a lot of people watch this on a replay line. So we put into the announcement that it'll be pushed 3 hours later. So if you're having difficulty with that time, and no matter what we do, we'll always find somebody who can't attend at that particular time. You can always watch the replay line. So this is the formal announcement. Welcome. Thank you, everybody. Now, every month, an article comes out, a magazine comes out. It's called the Direct Selling News. This is the magazine that represents the entire industry. So everybody in direct selling will be listed here, and all the major companies that are marketing their products and that are publicly traded. And looks like there are 10 or 15 major companies that are publicly traded. Avon's publicly traded. Forever Green, Herbalife, LifeVantage, Manatech. I'm just skipping over the list to New Skin, Primerica, Relive, Tupperware, Longevity, and so they're listed in the foreign stock markets. So it lists what they've been doing lately and what their stock prices are. Also, it lists magazine articles from companies that are in our industry. So there'll usually be an article on a brand new company that's coming out. It's a magazine that I've been receiving, for quite some time. So the article this month is it's called Loud and Clear: Direct Selling's Unparalleled Opportunity. And there's a listing of all our industry-wide training that the article lists everything that they recommend about our industry. So our industry is, a major industry that generates hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars worth of sales every year. This article that I'm going to, briefly touch on here today, and then we're going to go a little more into our other training, talks about 5 or 6 points that they like to make when they talk about our industry, because our industry is different than in traditional marketing, or traditional, entrepreneurship, traditional business, if you will. We are in the direct selling business. In other words, we direct sell our products to our customers. And that's what we do. That's our main job, right? So the point number one that this article makes is that customers are the heart of direct selling. If you're an entrepreneur, then that's what you do. You sell stuff, don't you? And most people who are employees, they really have a hard time selling. They're not very good at it. And the bottom line is, this is the heart of our business. This is what we do. We sell stuff. So what do we sell? We have 5 brands in our company that market all kinds of different products. We find customers who have problems and who have, certain desires that they have, and we sell stuff to them. And so you know, when this direct selling news tries to create an article that talks about how would you describe our business? Number one is that customers are the heart of our business. That's what we do. Number two, it says that personal growth is hardwired into the opportunity. Now, personal growth, what is personal growth? Because it's something that all of us should be really, really interested in. Personal growth is where we learn and we try to become better at all kinds of things. So better at marketing our products, better at talking to people, better at inviting people to learn more about this. All kinds of things that we're learning how to do. So that's called personal growth. But the foundation of personal growth is what all network marketing companies have been really talking about for years and years and years. They basically say that our company, and I've heard this maybe 1,000 times, our company is a personal growth company masquerading as a product sales company. In other words, in order to succeed in network marketing, you have to grow. You just have to get better at everything that you do. You have to study. You have to be willing to be the kind of person who likes to study and who likes to learn, who likes to grow as a human being, who is interested in learning. And our business does two things really well. Number one, it's good at teaching people how to do their business better, and it's good at learning. Those two are the fundamental bases of all network marketing. Because if you don't learn, if you're not the kind of person who likes to learn, who wants to learn, then this is. And when you think about all the companies or all the people who graduate from high school, guess what percentage of them never read another book for the rest of their life? You know, they've had it. They've done with their growing and their learning. And yet what we do in our business is we teach people how to learn. And obviously we have a whole series of products we got to learn about. And then we've got to learn about why do we take those products. And then we've got to learn about how do we share those products with other people. And then we have to learn how do we overcome our fears, and how do we learn how to organize ourselves. So in this article in the magazine, I actually want to read this part to you, because this is what we do every week. You and I, when we get together, essentially what we're doing is we're trying to learn how to learn. And then not only do we have to learn how to learn, but we have to learn how to teach. So it says, as an oft repeated phrase in the companies that make up the direct selling channel is that leave people better than when you found them. Nothing fulfills this mantra better than the personal development opportunities hardwired in most company offerings. And in a sense, what we're doing right here, is hardwired. It means it's something I do every week to try to teach and to give all of us a chance to learn and to grow. Indeed, the fundamental concepts of bettering oneself and one's place in life are woven into the very fabric of direct selling. Personal growth is something individuals keep with them the whole of their lives, whether or not they stick with the direct selling opportunity that provided the materials for that growth. Often called softer skills, and this is really what this is about. Goal setting, time management, handling rejection, and selling techniques are only part of the education provided by most companies within our channel. Becoming an empowered individual, believing that you can be more and do more than your current circumstances would allow, taking charge of your life, and helping others to do the same. These are the transformative pursuits that create a ripple effect throughout one's life that can never be undone. Personal development is a journey. And yes, it's a journey that must be undertaken by the individual. No one can grow on another's behalf. But no other business opportunity offers as a basic component such easy access to books and articles and videos and audios, even live training and coaching as this great channel. The outcomes are as unique and personal as the people involved, but the desired end result is the same. Discover the highest and best version of you and impact the world for good with this new self. So although number one is we got to find customers in terms of our business, number two is personal growth is hardwired into our company, and it should be something that you should want for not only for yourself, but we're not just selling products to people. You know, we're not just saying take this MOA product and drink it and have a better body. We're basically saying have a better life in all areas of your life. And if they're just customers, well, obviously the product is going to be valuable to them and they'll hopefully enjoy it and their life will get better. Yes, that's part of personal growth, is having physical health. But by the same token, when you're forming a team and you're forming a group of people who want to join with you, who want to build with you, you're starting off with, you know, the first 4 people that you enroll. Part of the gift, part of the benefit, part of the bundle of stuff that people get when they come into our company is a way to train. And you can go on to the boss online and you can be trained by, you know, Tim Sales is one of the top personal growth and, selling trainers in the planet. And he's just absolutely excellent at what he does. And he has spent enormous amount of time recording and laying out exactly how you would invite people to become part of your business. So there's personal growth there. Then obviously some of the recordings that I've made, and over this next year, we're going to be updating and improving the boss. Right now, I think it's been, if I can be, you know, perfectly truthful, it's been kind of the boss has been kind of what's the word I'm trying to say? Kind of a lost child, to tell you the truth. You know, it's not been as present as it ought to be, and frankly, I think one of the reasons is because we need to spend more time finding out what you guys want to learn. I mean, we teach you what we think you would like to learn. But we'll be doing a lot of research with top leaders all around the country, all around the world. And, before the end of the year, in every major country around the world, there'll be a brand new boss, fully available to everybody on the planet. Right now, it's available for most people. It's not available in China at this particular point. And a lot of the reasons because it hasn't been translated and there's not little words along the bottom that they can read. The bottom line is, though, we want our company to be a leader in personal growth. So what is there about what we learn together that makes your life better? What I try to teach you every single week is not just something that will make you more persuasive, make you less afraid to talk to people, who will make you a better representative of RX. What I try to teach you is how to make your life better. And then you as a trainer, I'm trying to teach things that are simple enough so that you can train somebody else. I don't want necessarily you to show up here every single week. Once you've learned the skills and how you teach personal growth to other people, I'm going to challenge you to go teach it, to find your team, to have a training with them, to teach them, right out of the chute. So when you get started with somebody, there is a training program that I recommend that everybody does with their brand new person, and most people do. Most of the top leaders do this. As soon as they enroll somebody, they'll take them through inputting and, in onboarding them onto the RX company. So, as part of that training, I want you to include something for you to teach them how to teach their people. Because if it's simple enough for them to do, then they'll get it. They'll not only get it because they'll understand it, but as soon as they teach it to somebody else, they get it even better. So these 4 skills that I have been repeating, and the reason I'm repeating them is I want you to get good enough at them so that you don't need this call. You don't need to watch this call. You would be the person that would go out and teach your people how to have more personal growth. So what is the foundation, I think, of personal growth? What's the essence of personal growth? Gave us a few ideas in here about what he called soft skills, but starts right off with the top one, very beginner, which is goal setting. And how do you do goal setting? How do you teach goal setting to ordinary people? How do you teach goal setting to yourself? How did you learn goal setting? Whoever taught it to you? Did you learn it in school? And more than likely, you didn't learn it in school. They gave you assignments and challenges, and those were certain goals, and getting grades, that's part of a goal setting process. But how do you set goals? And should you? I've got some opinions about that, but the bottom line is it's the fundamental basis of I believe, of the fundamental concept of personal growth in and of itself. It's a way of you saying to your brand new person, well, it actually starts before you even enroll anybody. It starts where in a without calling it goal setting, because sometimes if you even say those words, some people go, oh, I've learned that before. What are you talking about? Without even saying it's goal setting, I think that one of the ways you introduce anybody to come into your team is to ask them a simple question, which is the fundamental basis of all goal setting, which is, what do you want? What do you want? And when you talk to somebody about that, you discover what it is that motivates them, that causes them to want what it is they want. It's going to be different than your wants. And you can teach them, like, this is how you write a goal. You make something that's specific, and that's time oriented, and then has a deadline attached to it. All the basic fundamentals of goal setting. I teach it in a different way, and I've taught it to many of you over the last several months, and I'm going to basically come back to a simple diagram that I've shared with you many times before, and I'll continue to share it with you until you no longer want to be here, right? I want you to when you talk to somebody, I want you to be a personal growth trainer right from the very beginning, when you actually enroll them in part of your team. And then as soon as they become part of your team, you're going to teach them how they're going to teach this to somebody else. So the bottom left-hand corner is this concept of clarity. And clarity is power. And clarity means, what do you want? When do you want it? Why do you want it? With whom do you want it? Let's see. It's the six basic phrases, when, who, where, what, why, and how. And that's what the concept of clarity is. And in a sense, when we talk about goal setting, we're basically trying to say, what do you want? When do you want it? And this simple little diagram that I've taught you before, and I think you can see it. I think you can. I'm showing it. This is the way I teach it, and this is the way I'm going to ask you to teach it to other people. The reason I've come up with this methodology for teaching it this way is because it's so simple. And the bottom left-hand corner, whenever you talk to somebody about their goals, about their dreams, about where they really want to be 5 years from now, I usually start off with drawing a little chart, a little picture down here in the bottom left-hand corner, and I draw a frowny face in it. And as we go deeper into this concept here this week, this is a deep conversation on how you teach goal setting to people. The bottom is, some people you talk to are going to be driven and motivated by running away from a problem they've got. Some people will be driven and motivated and attracted by some dream or goal that they have. And therefore, when you draw both of these diagrams, essentially what you're doing is reaching and teaching goal setting in a very right brain way. Now, the problem with most goal setting, it's very left brain. And most people are not left brain thinkers. There are some that are very, very left brain, and that's exactly who they are. They love spreadsheets, and they love lists, and they love, detailed descriptions. And, I would say probably 20%, maybe 30% of the people who are But the majority of people are more visually oriented, and therefore they don't have any kind of way of teaching personal growth other than drawing lists and to-do lists and things of that nature. And this taps into a totally different part of the brain. And if you get them to draw it with you, even from the very beginning, you're going to not only be more persuasive and more the goal that you're sharing with them about joining this business and becoming a networker and learning how to market a business in order to generate an extra stream of income for them. Most of all those things are found inside that box. That's that bottom left-hand corner. So what I want you to do right now is I want you literally to take a blank piece of paper and draw on the bottom left-hand corner that frowny face surrounded by a box. And on a blank piece of paper, this is where I want you to start with your brand new person. Even before you mention RX to somebody, you can start teaching goal setting this way. Essentially what you're trying to find out is, as a friend, tell me, I'm your friend. I want to help you achieve what you really want. What do you want? And before even mentioning the concept of RX, you can have a deep conversation about somebody without even mentioning that the vehicle to get them what they really want will be an RX business. So when they draw this little box here, everybody whenever you meet somebody, you walk up to somebody, there's a conversation going on between you two. It's like a pyramid. And the tip of the pyramid is your brain, and then everything underneath you, everything subliminal underneath you, is this conversation you're having with yourself and with them. And it's like they're two pyramids coming together, and the top of their pyramid, they, in a sense, the tip of their iceberg represents their conscious mind. And when you're talking to somebody, you're communicating with their conscious mind. I'm communicating right now with your conscious mind. And whatever's going on in your head up there might be totally blank because you're listening and you're learning and taking notes. It might be all kinds of little dialogues that are going on in your head about, because everybody has a dialogue that's going on in their head constantly. And when you're talking to somebody, if you and I are having a conversation, there is a whole world of things that are going on, not only consciously, but unconsciously. And the same thing goes on with me. I'm having things that are going on in my head. I'm thinking about what I'm going to say, and I'm talking those out through my mouth to you. But there's also a whole world of unconscious behavior that's going on inside me as I'm talking to you. Feelings that I'm having, desires that I have for this particular call, communications that I'm, and a lot of it's unconscious. I'm not even aware of a lot of the stuff that's going on there. So when you're talking to somebody and you're having a communication with them, chatting with them, if they've got problems going on in their head, if they've got pressures that they're feeling, if they've got fears that they're having, that they're dealing with, that they got a family challenge that's going on around their life. You know, you might be meeting at Starbucks and having a quick bite to eat, a cup of coffee or something. But this person that you're talking to has got a whole host of unconscious and conscious things. Well, they're unconscious to you because you don't know what's going on up there. And they're unconscious to them because they usually don't know what's going on down there, you know, in their heart or the rest of their body or the rest of their spirit or soul or however you want to refer to it. But they have a whole host of challenges and problems. And the way I like to describe it is by saying they are surrounded by fear. And all of us are. We're surrounded by fears and doubts, worries and anxieties. And now you show up. And you're saying, hey, I got this new product I'd like to talk about. You know, I've got this new skincare thing that I want to share with you. I've got this business that I'm joining, you know, and I want to tell you about it. And so as soon as you bring that up, there are going to be all kinds of things that are going to go on. Some things will be positive, some things will be negative. They're going to have reactions, you know, unconsciously. They may not say it out of their mouth to you, but some of it might be extremely positive, like, oh, cool, great. I've been looking for something like that. And then others might be, oh, I don't have time to get involved in another business. And they are literally wrapped up in these walls of fear that are surrounding them. And it doesn't look like they're afraid. It doesn't look like they have a lot of anxieties. They might have a nice smile on their face and things might be going along really well. And they might be having, really enjoying the conversation we're having with you. But, you know, strip it all aside, you know, when they leave the meeting with you, they've got a whole host of problems on their shoulders, and everybody does. And so the fastest way I've discovered of lifting a person outside of the walls of fear and getting them into a goal-minded state, a state of dream creation. It's a right brain state. It's a state of more imagination, and to get them into that state is an extremely powerful mindset. It's a powerful state. And as I've maybe have spoken to you before, like I said, we're going to go deep onto it in this particular call today, because I want you to get good at this. I want you to understand why you want to get good at it. As soon as you get a person to and draw out this little picture of this frowny face, and then I want you to draw a smiley face up in the top right-hand corner. Don't put the house around it yet, or don't put any of the other symbols around it. You just want to have a frowny face in the bottom right-hand corner and a smiley face in the top right-hand corner. And the reason you're doing this is you're giving them a chance to play. Especially when you're doing this, you're actually kind of tapping them into a more childlike state. That's what frowny faces and smiley faces do. And I want them to be, I don't want you to, if you're really good at art and you are extremely good at drawing the eyelashes and, you know, if that's just your strength, don't do that. I'm going to ask you not to make it complicated. I'm going to ask you to make it really simple. Because as you do this with your client, you know, in a sense, some of you don't have to do this to way you build your RX business if you don't want to. I'm going to just teach you where I would recommend, why I recommend doing it this way. But if you've got other ways of doing it that work for you, and you're really confident at it, you really want to share that with your team members, then share with them whatever you want. What I've discovered over the last 2 years since I've been designing this process is that when people get into it, they get like little kids and they start drawing out. And then when they draw that smiley face, essentially what we're trying to say is that some people, there are things you want and there are things you don't want. So the way that I immediately get them into that is I draw a plus sign on the top part of that page. I draw a little plus sign, and then I draw 3 lines. And I ask them, let's go out 5 years from now and let's imagine what it would be like 5 years from today, when you've left behind the challenges of today, and so therefore you've got them out of their state that they're in now. And let's go off in the future and imagine the way you'd like it to be. By doing that, you immediately tap into a part of their psyche that is much more powerful. That's much more fun. It's also much since you've got them into a dream state, you've caused them to leave behind their anxiety state. So it makes them more open-minded to a conversation you're going to have about their dreams. And you're not there to sell them RX. You can. And if you're trying to enroll your first 4 in the first couple of weeks, maybe you don't have time for this, frankly. Sometimes you just sit down and say, I got, we're friends. I got to tell you, I've just launched a new business and I've got products to sell. And I need you to be one of my customers. Sometimes that's what you have to say. And talk about personal growth. It takes real courage to say what I just said when you're starting off and you need to enroll 4 people in 4 weeks. Generally speaking, once that's behind you, then you're, in my opinion, I think it's smarter to slow down the process and to find out exactly what they want and to figure out how to align what they want with what it is we have. But when you draw that smiley face and you ask them, what do you want? What do you want 5 years from now? How good do you want it? And if I were you, even right from the very beginning, before the word RX is ever mentioned, I would give them the pencil. And I would say, draw a word or that would describe the way you would like it to be 5 years from now. And now you're getting them into goal setting state. And it's a profound state. And when I do my public speaking around the world, I almost never speak without taking the group there. I have always found that it's extremely profound. And it's a gift that I give every single audience. I want them to actually go out 5 years from now. Most of them have never done this. And I want them to literally imagine what it would be like. And this is how I do it when I'm speaking from stage. And I just got back from Taiwan a month ago. I think I had 8 or 9 audiences that I spoke to. And I think in every single case, I took them through this because I found it so powerful. I usually do it this way. I want to get them to feel what it feels like to experience their dream as quickly as possible. And so I'll say, you're driving up in your new car 5 years from now, the 21st of March 2016, and you go up to the front door of your house. This is where you live. It's your dream home. Grab the door handle and walk inside. I don't give them any more preparation than that. And I've got an audience of, I had an audience of like 400 people. Without any introduction, I just said, do me a favor. Imagine, and that's the powerful word, imagine. Imagine you're in your dream car and you drive up to your dream house and you've arrived. You did it. Somehow or other, you made it. 5 years from now. I want you to, draw a smiley face and have them draw a smiley face just like this. And I say, there's your dream home and you're in it. And what's it feel like when you walk inside the front door? What do you experience? And by doing this with the audience, I get them to tell me what they want. And I'll actually pull it out of the audience. I say, what do you see? I'm careful about using the word see because some people don't see very well. And therefore, even sometimes using the word see is a word that people get hung up on. Some people are extremely visual, and when you cause them to imagine their dream home, they can see it inside their mind, clear, color, vivid. And and when I do tests of audiences, I'm asking on a scale 1 to 10, are you really, really visual, or are you not very visual, you know? So I'll say 1 is not very visual. You don't see images in your mind. You literally don't imagine that way. And if it's 10, I mean, you know, when I say notice your dream car, you can see the color. You know exactly what it is. You can see the shininess of it. You're sitting in the seat. You can see the steering wheel. You see the radio. You see the passenger sitting next to you. Some people's minds work that way, and they're extremely vivid and very colored and very detailed. I am not that way. You know, when if I were to imagine things, I'm going to say I'm on the scale of maybe 2 or 3. You know, where my wife would be 10. You know, it's just the way she thinks, and she thinks extremely, you know, in vivid detail. And I guess I want to ask you, how do you imagine it? And I just want you to realize that every person you talk to is going to be seeing things or imagining things differently than you do. And it's really important to realize that as you two pyramids come together, what's going on in your head is not what's going on in their head. The things that you're describing, the way you're describing it, even sometimes using words like, I'll say a word like dog. And I know exactly the kind of dog I'm talking about. But I'll say the word dog, and every one of you is going to have a different dog in your mind. And yet to me, why can't you get the fact I'm talking about a black Labrador dog? His name is Mike. It's the dog that I was raised with. That was our favorite dog throughout my entire youth. You know, it's Mikey. And that's when I say dog, that's who I'm seeing. And it's probably not even close to the dog you're seeing. So even the words you use, the visual words that you use, when I say the word house, when I say the word, you know, network marketing, just that concept in itself means things to you. And you say the word network marketing to somebody else, it means totally different from anywhere from I've never heard of what network marketing is, have no clue what you're talking about, to, oh yeah, been there, done that, maybe involved in it right now, right? So when I'm asking you to cause them to imagine, you're using, when you get them to use their own words and describe it their own way, then it'll make sense to them more powerfully. So that's why I'm asking there at the very top, what do you want? And you ask them, what's your ideal life like? Ask them, ideally, what do you want? And I'm gonna ask you, what do you want? And immediately you can think of conjuring up something. It's going to be something to do with one of those 4 symbols that I show up there, and I'm going to ask you not to draw those symbols until a person has told you what they want, you know. And then the symbols start making some sense, and they start having some fun. So they'll write down a few words, you know. They don't have to write great long descriptions, but they might write things like down, a dream home. All right, so write that down. And when you get them to write it down, it becomes more real to them. You know, you're linking it to an image they've got in their head, and now physically, they're writing down the words that have come out of their mouth, and makes it more real. And this is exactly what you want. The more real their image is, their dream is, what they really want, the more real it becomes, the more profound it is when it goes back into their head. Because in their head, what's going on in their head? All kinds of things are going on simultaneously. Fear things are going on, anxious things, worried things, pressured things. You know, they got challenges in their life. And at the very same time, they got these dreams in there, and their dreams have usually been beaten down by the pressures of life. So sometimes that dream is a tiny little piece of their brain. And sometimes it's subliminal, or it's even unconscious, and they just haven't thought about it in so long that your job as a personal growth trainer is to get them to reconnect with their dreams. And sometimes their dreams have been so far beaten down that even bringing up the dream can sometimes be sensitive. You know, sometimes people say, "I don't want to go there." You know, life. I don't want to go there, and therefore, from time to time, you'll have a person have trouble writing down what they want. And usually when that happens, and I've mentioned this in a previous call, usually when that happens, I immediately go to the minus one. And I'll write the word, I'll write the minus sign, right? And the minus sign, now, then the next question is, well, what don't you want? You know, if I could wave it now we're starting about imagining again. If I could wave a magic wand and immediately remove from your life things that have been challenging to you, some difficulties or problems or debts or worries or fears or things that you might have, what would you like to immediately remove? And usually that will tip the scales for a person who has a hard time imagining what they really want. And therefore, when you have them write that minus sign, and you have them write down the words if they can. If they won't write them down, then I would recommend you do it. You know, as you're sitting there on a blank piece of paper, or maybe a napkin at Starbucks, so it has a blank side to it. You just draw the frowny face, and then you draw the smiley face, and you write a plus sign, and you write a minus sign. And you say, what do you want? What do you really want? 5 years from now, what do you want? And they're going to come up with a whole series of things, and they're going to usually fall within these four symbols that I share with you. The heart symbol usually has something to do with people. And so usually I'll draw that symbol. Why draw the symbol? What does the symbol mean? You're trying to make this a memorable experience for them. Something that they will never forget. Whether they're part of your RX business or not, you want them to never forget it. Because it's a gift you want to give them. Yeah, it's strange. You might think that having a person reconnect to their dream is a gift, but a lot of people haven't connected in a long time. And when you bring them back and it cause them to imagine it, it's something that they never can forget. Now, why do you want them not to forget it? Anybody want to make a stab at that? What's going on when you're causing them to remember their dream that is really important for the process of sharing this with them? Anybody want to make a stab at it? You can type in the chat. Why is it so important for them to remember it? Come on, somebody. Tell me, why do you think you want them to remember? I'm going to unmute everybody. You're all unmuted, so you can all talk. Okay, good. It activates their emotions. Thank you, Connie. It activates their emotions. Number 2, it releases dopamine in the brain, and it keeps it part of their vision. Very good. Thank you for sharing, everybody. Somebody else says it may be the beginning of their journey. Exactly. Very good, Jim. Thank you. I'm going to be even in a sense, by sharing and talking about their dream with them. Let's see. I want to figure out how I want to say this well. Remember, part of causing them to remember their dream is you're connecting them to the motivation engine that's going to power them through the worst parts of this journey they're going to go on. And if they don't have a real connection to their dream, they won't get through the valley. They'll give up. They'll quit. And everybody in America, we are a bunch of quitters. We are a very
Yeah.
successful country, that's true. But we are one of the biggest quitting countries on the planet. We are quitters. And you cannot let that happen to your team. You don't want them to quit. So when they make it more, when you make it more, hold on, I'm gonna mute everybody again. When you make it more real to them, it's like turning on the engine. And the more vivid that dream gets, the more profound that engine is. And the more they remember that dream, and you encourage them, do it when you go to sleep tonight. Do it when you wake up in the morning, walk inside that dream home and feel it. You're right, Connie. We want them to get to have the emotions of it. There's another really profound reason, and that is by doing so, they link you to their dream. They can't even remember their dream without remembering how they were reminded of it. So in a very powerful way, you are part of the dream that you're helping create with them. And this makes it just easier for them to say yes. When ultimately, if it's something they really want, and there's a solution that you have that you're going to take them towards, they'll want you to be part of this process, So that's a very, very powerful concept that I'm trying to teach you. It's a very powerful, persuasive concept. So when you're talking about the things they don't want and the things they do want, in a sense, you are revealing to them and making it more real to them of what they're running away from and what they're running towards. And both of them need to be included in that vision. That's why I'm asking you to test out this for yourself with anybody, with a brand new person that you're trying to enroll this to in your RX business. Test it out and notice what it gives you. First of all, it gives you a framework that makes it easy for you to do because it's easy to remember. And number two, it makes you more confident. Because when you're asking for a person what they want, it's easy for you to ask that question. It's not a difficult process for you to think about it. That's why I made the image so simple. There's a minus sign, a plus sign. There's a smiley face. There's a frowny face. There is a couple lines where you can write down their dreams. And you're essentially trying to say, this is what you, now, some symbols as they write down. You write the heart, that represents love. Write that time. Sometimes, if I were you and they didn't come up with this, if this isn't what part of their dream was, if they didn't say something to you like, I really want some more free time, that's not really something they mentioned to you. You may want to ask that question, have you ever wanted a lot of free time, where you just didn't have to get up in the morning and go to a job you didn't like, where you could wake up in the morning and decide exactly what your day looks like, like I did today, me today. There's only one thing I knew I had to do. I had to be on this call here with you today. The rest of the day, I got to decide. And there's things that I still have to do that are part of the plan for today. But when you ask them, you draw that little clock, the little hand and the big hand, and you basically ask them, is free time important to you? Is that something you really like? Then just draw it in there. If they don't mention anything about money, I really, I'm pretty happy with money. Maybe they don't have money problems. Maybe money isn't even part of their dream. You might ask them, if you ever wanted to earn the kind of income that just flows in, like clockwork, comes in every Friday, just gets deposited automatically in your bank account. That ever crossed your mind? They more than likely they'll talk about money, but if they don't, then you can remind them. And then finally, that's the dollar sign. And then the reason that I draw the symbol, the little stick figure of a body, that represents to me health. And if suppose they didn't come up with health as a goal or as part of what you're trying to get them to do is to say, what's your ideal lifestyle? When you wake up in the morning, what's it like? How is money for you? How are you earning it? You know, what are your relationships like? How organized are you? What do you got to get done that day? What's your time challenges that day? What about health? You know, you want to be vibrantly healthy, or do you want to, you know, wake up all, you know, riddled with pain and tiredness? In other words, your job as part of this conversation is to get them to experience the ideal lifestyle. And the way I do that is I get them to, and I'll, as I said with an audience, I'll say, you know, walk up to the front door of your dream home, because usually they'll be in some kind of a dream home. Most people have an idea of where they want to live. It's usually not in the apartment or house or, you know, condo they're living in now. They've got a new place. Are they in that city? You want to ask them, you living in the same city? And right at the bottom where the chart is, you know, write down the date, 21st of March, 2016, if that's the date you're working with, like today. And you want to make it as real as you can. Walking in the front door, what's the first thing you notice? And that word notice is a much less visual word. So a person might notice it by feeling it. You know, they might be more feeling oriented, or they might notice it by hearing sounds, because maybe that's how they think. They're more auditory, as they say. In other words, that's the way the brain works up there. And everybody has a different number on the way their brain works. You know, visual people will be 10, you know, and I'll ask them, how about the sounds in your imaginations? And, you know, some of them will be down at a 1 or a 2, and they don't hear sounds when they think and in the imagine. Now, I do. You know, I'm probably more feeling oriented. I kind of feel stuff, you know, and I kind of sense things. And then every once in a while, there'll be a flash of an image that'll pop into my head. And it's usually where I get my genius thoughts. And they come in flashes of insight. And it'll come like fully clear, fully formed, all done. And yet most of the time, my brain is pretty murky most of the time. And yet other people will think completely differently. So when I say the word notice, what do you notice when you walk in the front door? You're giving them an opportunity to experience it the way they would naturally experience it, right? So they notice what? They notice a staircase, that might be more visual. They notice cut flowers and they're smelling the smell of the flowers. They notice that there's a party going on, and so there's kind of some good music going on. They'll explain it to you the way they imagine it, and the way they imagine it makes it more real to them. And now by doing that, it literally shrinks down all the fears and the problems they've been having, and they step right into the state as if they're feeling and being there right there at the same time. It's a state where they are experiencing what they're imagining. And this is a very, very extremely powerful state. Now, I usually take them into smelling at that point, because I say there's something cooking in the kitchen. Chef's preparing something for you. And immediately they'll smell it. And what's their favorite hot dish is what I like to say it. So it's, you know, macaroni and cheese, or maybe it's filet mignon, or maybe it's whatever it is for them. Let them experience it. And like right now, as you walk up to the front door of your dream home, what do you notice? You walk inside. What do you experience? Experience is another word that is not visual, but it's also how would you do it, right? When you smell something cooking in the kitchen, what do you smell? And actually get them to tell you. Walk into the kitchen. Now, as they're walking along the flooring, if you want them to experience it, then have them feel the flooring as they're walking. So what kind of flooring is it? Is it wood? Is it carpet? Is it marble, stone, rock? Or as I say every time, and I always get a laugh at this, or is it some of that mid-grade linoleum you've always wanted to put throughout your house? In other words, I want you to experience what it's like. And so as they're walking along the kitchen, they will be feeling what it's like. And it makes it more real. When they feel it, it's more real. They go into the kitchen, the chef puts a taste on the tongue. Have them taste it. Why? Because if you can cause a person in their imagination to experience things in all 5 senses, it's become real. They notice something they walk in the door, usually something visual, smelling something, tasting something, feeling something as they're walking on the floor. You got 4 of them right there. 5th one? Yeah, hearing something. Taste, touch, smell, feel, hear. Experience it in all 5 senses. And then tell them how that feels. Ask them, how does that feel? If you really want to go even deeper into this conversation with them, have them tell you what they're thinking to themselves. Have them actually say the words that they're thinking to themselves as they're experiencing wandering through their dream home sometime in the future. What are you saying to yourself? What they reveal to you when they tell you what they say to themselves is their pet phrase usually. It's a phrase that they use at a time when they need to motivate themselves. And almost everybody has one. What I want you to write down here in the chat for me is, what would you say to yourself? You're standing in your dream home. You've arrived. It was hard. You did it. You experienced it. You're there now. You've overcome the fears. What are you saying to yourself? I want you, every one of you, to type right here in the chat. Every single person that's on the call right now, tell me, what would you be saying to yourself? What would the words be? I'll just wait. Okay, Brenda, good. Brenda's contributed. Okay, good. There's Jim. Keep coming. Everybody, I want everybody to do it. Good. There you go, Connie. Very good. Keep coming. We got some more. I got 7 or 8 of you here. Very good. Keep coming. Ha. There you go, Mary. Ha. Very good. Another one, Connie. Very good. You have 2. Now, here's what else I'm going to tell you. I'm going to ask you. Tell me what volume your critical, or not your, I'm sorry, your voice, the voice you're saying to yourself, where you're using those words. If 10 was a loud volume and 1 was a soft volume, what is the volume in your head as you say those words to yourself? Joe says, okay, Connie. Mary said, good, keep it up. Tell me what the volume is. Is it a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? 11. Very good. All right. So let's just read through those again. Brenda says, it's mine. So just saying those words, it's mine, is going to put her back in that state where you should go, wait a second. Sometime in the future, I'm going to be standing in our dream home, and I'm going to say, it's mine. So what do I have to do between now and then to make sure that those words come true? Right? And so you've created cognitive dissonance, which is a fancy way of saying a disparity between where you are now in the frowny face and where you are in the future in the smiley face, and something happens unconsciously with cognitive dissonance, as your psychologist will teach you, something happens where a part of you goes, we need to lower this to narrow the distance between where we are and where we want to be. It's a very scientific process that I'm taking you through. Most of these smiley faces and frowny faces have dozens of scientific principles behind them that I'm not going to teach you. Or let's put that, or as I teach it to you, you don't have to teach it to somebody else. I just want you to realize that by drawing this frowny face, it taps into whole series of underlying principles that I want you to realize. That's why I want you to do it, right? So I'm so blessed, says Jim Eckert, and overfilled with joy. Now, feeling, see what feeling is like? Connie says, I knew I could do it. Thank you, God, for giving me everything I needed to make it happen. How can I share this with others, says John. Mary says, we did it. And boy, isn't that the truth? We don't build this business alone. It's a we thing. It's not a me thing. Who else can I bless, says Connie. Joe says, honey, I'm home. Now, come on, Joe. And let's see. Each of you wrote down, many of you wrote down that the number you're saying was 10. The real question is, if you want it to be more real, then make it a 10. Or turn the volume on the voice in your head at a level that makes you feel the most confident. You even want to try that out inside your mind. You know, we did it. How it, you know, maybe saying it too loud is actually makes it less real. Maybe it's saying really soft. Makes it more real to you. I'm going to ask you to just find the volume of the voice in your head and turn it to the voice that makes you feel the most confident. Where when you say that, you actually find yourself, your body's shifting. Like, yeah, that feels right to me when I say it that way. Of course, I'm more of the feeling oriented, so maybe that responds more to me than it would to you. Anyway, Joe, I don't know why you had trouble signing in, as you can tell. You're right about psychology. Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So somebody says it's more of the movement rather than the volume. See, I'm just going to ask you to imagine it in a way that makes the most sense to you. And when you're having a conversation with a friend and you don't want to go too deep into this kind of stuff, you just basically want them to do the basic pluses and minuses. And then the final question, and we'll be done with our call today, is, so why do you want that? Why do you want to live in that home and have those kinds of relationships and have that kind of free time and make that kind of money and have that kind of health? Why? Why is that important to you? And this is a hard question. And sometimes people will give you a silly answer. And, you know, your job is just to take it, you know. Sometimes they'll say, well, because my family is really important to me. And good, you know, write that. You have them write the why question down below the smiley face and 3 lines there. The more you can get them to elicit why they want it that way, why they want that life, why that's a dream for them, why that's important to them, what makes them be motivated to drive it, then you're learning more about your friend than maybe you ever knew. And most of you have never asked these kinds of questions to people before. And yet what you're giving them is a gift. You're causing them to have a real experience with what their possible life could be like. And then they may ask you, what are your dreams? And this is when you can go into it. Especially if they ask you, tell me, what do you want? Well, hopefully you've thought it through before you get there. And you've done the smiley face and frowny face diagram on yourself. And you've asked yourself, what do I want? What don't I want? What won't I stand for? Why do I want? And why won't I stand for it? What's so important to me that I'm willing to risk for it? Because you're setting them up in the next week's conversation. We're going to be talking about the hero's journey. And you're giving them a hero's journey, because getting to where they want and the mountain they're climbing is a tough mountain. And it's going to require a hero to climb it. And next week, I'll share with you exactly what it takes. Many of you are heroes. Why I love you here is because you're here every week, or you watch this on a replay line and you want to learn. You're hungry to learn. Hope you've learned something today, that this has been valuable to you in some way, shape, or form. Next week, we're going to talk about the journey you're on, and then the journey you want to take other people on. Because I want you to be a master at goal setting in a brand new, totally different way, in a way that reaches levels of deepness that they've never reached before. That's what you're doing as a purveyor of personal growth, the most important part of our business, I believe. All right, so I'm going to unmute everybody again. Any questions, thoughts, things you want to share, additions you want to add to our conversation? The time is yours. I'll be happy to hear anything you want to say, any question you want to ask. Come on in.
Great job.
Thank you. I'd like you to teach me what you learned today. What was an aha you wrote down? You thought, oh, I hadn't thought of that one before. Somebody.
Psychology.
What was that? Keep it up.
Psychology that you shared.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm specifically interested in what specific aha or thought that I shared that was useful to you.
The simplicity of the presentation.
Simplicity. Thank you. That's the greatest compliment you could give me. Thank you. Gotta be simple.
Hi, Bob. It's
Yes.
Mary. The thing that kind of grabbed me today was about the dream engine, and that it can pull us through the valleys when things maybe aren't going quite so well. That is very powerful.
It's the motivation, isn't it? What motivates you? Why'd you get up this morning? You know,
The thing that motivates me is helping people live. I have my useful life back. I have fibromyalgia, and the products have helped me feel so much better that I have the ability to dream back. And that is so amazing that I just cannot help but tell people that. So it's a need to help others and to be a blessing to my family and my community.
Wow. So you see, that drives you. That's one of the reasons you're willing to take the hero's journey.
Yes.
Hard to talk to people sometimes when they don't want to listen. And yet you've got a solution, and you know it's changed your life. So, wow. Excellent. Somebody else tell me, what did you learn today, or what addition you want to add to our conversation today?
Yeah, Bob, today I just had an aha, or this was very moving for me today. And just the questions you asked, it really went deep within myself. And I would say this is the few words that I'm destined for this. And I know that perhaps other people may say that, but it really went deep within me. And I've been searching for a vision, for a dream, and trying to unravel things within myself. And today it was very moving. And it within me, it spoke that I'm destined for this.
Boy, does that give me goosebumps, Jim? My gosh. If you can say the word destined, it just means it's part of your purpose. It's why you breathe, you know?
Mm.
And then if somebody tries to talk you out of it, it's almost like, are you trying to talk me out of breathing?
Mm.
I don't think so. Breathing is part of who I am. And this is part of who I am. I'm so happy to hear that this has been helpful to you today, Jim. Thank you. Anybody else? What didn't work for you? This is a really good question to ask you, because sometimes when I speak and I'm trying to say it the way it works for me, sometimes there's like fingers on the chalkboard where you go, ooh, no, that didn't work for me. I'd be really interested to have you share that with us so we could all understand how sometimes words can have that kind of effect on somebody. Anybody else found an image or a phrases that I were using that didn't work for you? Oh, somebody. No?
There's a few things in the chat.
Who's that?
You've got a comment from John in the chat. And Connie said, thank you.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yes, you need to, yeah, thank you. You need to finish the exercise and learn what it is. Listen, everybody. Next week, we're going to go into the hero's journey, and I'm going to try to outline for you explain why those different parts of the hero's journey tap into different places. I'm going to share with you the psychology behind the simplicity, okay? All right, everyone. My best to you. God bless. See you next week with this college to be watched again if you want to. For being there, always to help me get this thing started.
You bet.
God bless everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Bob.